Joining us now for more is the founder and president of I Know God US, Pastor John Amanchukwu, and the host of the Vince Everett Ellison Show, Vince Everett Ellison. Gentlemen, great to have you on. Pastor John, we'll start with you. Look, I get that she's a woman of the cloth, but I don't think it's her place to lecture the new president and the vice president less than a day after they both took the oath of office. What was your reaction to what she had to say?
Well, first and foremost, anarchy begets anarchy. You know, you can't be a he and a she at the same time, nor can you be a she and a he at the same time. A woman can't be a husband and a husband can't be a wife. The Bible tells us clear the role of the bishop and who should be in that role. Number one, as it relates to the qualifications, the bishop must be blameless and it must also be a male. She's out of order. Therefore, her message is out of order. I travel this country, Rob, fighting against books like this, that this bishop, this trans swamp bishop, the Bishop of D.C., talks about. You know, this book like Sparkle Boy and this book here, like It's Perfectly Normal. These are the kinds of content that I've been fighting against around this country after traveling to 18 states. Yeah. She wants to sodomize the minds of our kids. She's a mental rapist, and she pushed her agenda upon President Donald J. Trump, but she's not dealing with Joe Biden now. She has a real man in the Oval Office, and we're going to fight her tooth and nail.
Yeah, I'm with you. Vince, take a listen to this same bishop praising George Floyd and BLM. George Floyd, by the way, no one ever mentions that if George Floyd didn't resist arrest, he'd be alive today. Let's listen.
Their message, it is a message of a call for justice, for swift justice for George Floyd, for systemic justice for all brown and black people who have been under the knee of this country in ways that we have witnessed time and again.
What is your message to President Trump today?
Well, I've given up speaking to President Trump. We need to replace President Trump.
And Vince, just a day ago, Pope Francis, the Holy Father, called Donald Trump's deportation plans a disgrace and, quote, not the way to solve anything, which I thought was a remarkable thing to say coming from the Pope.
Look, man, Satan is shrewd. He's not in the clubs and he's not out there on the street corners. Satan is in the pulpits not right now. He's taken over the churches, and the churches are just a den of confusion and apostasy. And this is how the people are being led astray. We learn from our churches, and our churches then teach the culture, and the culture then teaches politics. He knows exactly where to go. He goes right into the pulpit, and the pulpit lies to the people, and then the people choose politicians that are corrupt and don't know what they're doing. I had an opportunity to go to a real church a couple of months ago. I went to John Amanchukwu Church, and I sat and listened to Bishop Wooden preach. And if you go to that church, you'll see real men. Right. You'll see a real congregation. You'll see a culture that is pushing out great, strong Christian people. There isn't any ambiguity coming out of that pulpit. Bishop Wooden, John Amanchukwu tells you the truth. Whether you like it or not, you're going to hear it. And what Satan has done, he's gone into the pulpits. He's taken and he's trying to confuse the people. But see, but we're fighting back now. And with John doing his thing, Bishop Wooden doing his thing, Ellison Williams in Memphis doing his thing, there's a pushback. And we're beating these people down, and we're going to put them back into the pit of hell where they belong.
John, so Kamala Harris, it sounds like Barack and Michelle are having some issues in their marriage. Michelle skipping the inauguration, but also skipping Jimmy Carter's funeral, which is very bizarre. Kamala Harris now blaming her beta male husband, Doug, who got the nanny pregnant and had to divorce his first wife. Media didn't want to talk about that. A report claims that she is now placing the blame solely on husband Doug Emhoff for her electoral loss, apparently playing the blame game. Her target is her husband Doug, whom she reportedly considers dead weight. What is going on with the Democratic Party? And honest question, who is the leader, the current leader of the Democratic Party today? It's not Kamala, it's not Joe Biden, it's definitely not Barack Obama, and Nancy Pelosi, not a chance.
Well, Kamala neutered her husband by making him a stay-at-home dad. That's the issue. And so he's passive-aggressive. Although he may not be the VP himself, he takes it out upon Kamala by sleeping with the nanny. It's not the will of God that men will play the second fiddle role or that they would not lead. And so therefore, mentally and psychologically, Doug has to do something to repair himself internally. And so therefore, he has turned towards adultery, which is a corrupt and evil thing. I do believe that in the same way that Doug Emhoff and Kamala Harris are having challenges, Barack and Michelle are as well. I mean, what woman sends her husband to a funeral for a former Democrat president?
Right.
Alone.
Yeah.
I mean, that is just...
Vince, are these two lovebirds going to make it? Doug and Kamala?
And you know what? You look at Doug Emhoff. Every time I see Doug Emhoff, I want to beat the hell out of him.
Poor Doug.
Doug married a woman, wouldn't have him no children, wouldn't take his name, wouldn't take his religion, but gonna spend all of his damn money. See, that ain't gonna work with me.
Right.
You know, that's not gonna work with any real man. So when I saw that, I understood. Look, man, you couldn't. If you call up Mrs. Emhoff, she want to jump on you. Don't call me Mrs. Emhoff. When you see that, that's a harbinger. You got a problem.
Doug Harris.
Now Doug is getting kicked to the curb because Doug didn't have any testosterone to start with.
You know, I'd say poor Doug, but he beat up his girlfriend.
Barack and Big Mike, that Barack weighed about 175 pounds. Big Mike like 6'2", 230. We knew who the alpha was in that relationship.
Right.
So he finally got tired of him, kicked him to the side, and that was it.
Yes.
It's just how this is how the world turns, man.
Yep. Well said. We'll leave it there. Gentlemen, we'll have you back. Vince, Pastor John, great to see you both. Thank you.
All right.
Poor Doug. Poor Doug.